Anselm Cross is one man who knows the true meaning of the adage, old is gold. After 25 years of turning old bottles and glasses into beautiful pieces, this venture was well worth it.
Hi, I'm Anselm. I started this company about 25 years ago out of a necessity to basically to make molten glass. We were doing stained glass windows and wanted to reduce the price of importing the flat glass, and so I did a course on how to manipulate molten glass and found in doing that there was a lot of other things that we could make with it, and we've learned on the job. I've had visiting experts come from time to time in the last couple decades to show us new tricks. Glass blowing is a very old craft. It's 2,000 years old. The techniques and the biology and the mechanics and the dance of it are the same since it was invented. There's no real huge technological innovations in, like, for example, in our computing story. And then was captivated by it. It's a magical thing. It's very challenging. It's very difficult to do. It's very beautiful. Glass is kind of magic stuff, both molten and solid, and so I like very much the refractivity of it. And obviously, when we were learning, the ugliest lump that we made was still kind of good looking. So the instant gratification part of it appealed to me.
The process of converting these old bottles into beautiful pieces of art is long, and Anselm usually makes them according to their own needs and design, but at times the clients get their way and other times they don't.
It's essentially a simple process because we recycle glass. We recycle because it's a no-brainer. It's cheaper to do that. You don't need quite so much temperature to melt glass that's already glass than you do to make glass from silica sand, soda ash, which are the basic raw materials. We source our glass from around the sort of greater Nairobi area. Window glass is a popular one of mine, bottles, pretty much any kind of glass. I mean, I do sort it by either color or type, and when we have our mass of scrap glass we'll start in the evening. In the evening we'll throw that into the furnace, approximately 250 kilos of the stuff, a few wheelbarrows full. Overnight, the furnace is at 1100 centigrade. It melts that down, it traps bubbles, those boil out, and by the morning we have a sort of nice molten mass. We're very much client-based, but we're also material-driven. There's a lot of limitations in working recycled glass. There's only so much you can do with it. And so quite a lot of the time my products will actually, in my opinion, design themselves. If I'm making a simple object, there's only so many ways you can do it. Having said that, there are clients, and this is since we began, who will come and they'll say, look, I've got this thing, I would like you to make something like it. And I accepted this really to the larger part because actually I regarded it as a way of learning more and as more of a challenge if we could try and fulfill this. Having done that now for 2 decades, I'm kind of pulling back a little bit because there are so many millions of products that we make and could possibly make that it's just physically impossible to do it all, so we have to kind of curate a little bit our designs down. So yes, if it's an old design of ours, I will try and replicate it. Within reason, I will try and do things for people, but one-off things. I had a guy call me this morning, he wants a sculpture of a black taxi, and I had to say no because the amount of time that I would have had to divert to that, it wouldn't have been cost effective because of the cost of opportunity cost in our production.
In an industry where the players are few and far between, there are a myriad of challenges.
Glass blowing it's tough. It's really tough to do. It's tough to learn. It's incredibly skill heavy. Doing it with recycled glass, you're adding another level of difficulty to that. And then you add the layers of doing business in Kenya, which has its own challenges. The large amounts of legislation that are required. Obviously, being a developing country, we have to sort of start trying to follow best practices and Western ideals, if you want, in workplace policies and eco-friendly policies and things like that. We don't just recycle glass, we recycle oil, we recycle packing material. I recycle quite a lot of my building material, I recycle a lot of my metal, my furnaces are made out of recycled materials. I basically want a sort of zero-sum waste product at the end of the day. We live on the edge of a very area of natural beauty, so just to be aware of that. This is a challenge. I get charged by NEMA for the privilege of recycling, and still then we struggle to find used oil, for example. That's a challenge. It's very much in demand. But having said that, the love of our craft, I think, has shone through, so to speak. It's made us into who we are. We'll never be millionaires, but we have a very high profile because we have a very strong ethic.
The building industry has grown leaps and bounds over the last few years, and ANSLEM envisions his business growing in tandems with it.
Putting together my sort of plans for 5 and 10 and 15 years, and some of them I'll share with you and some of them I won't. The general idea is to continue to learn and improve, to publicize ourselves actually, because we are very kind of educative to the large part. A lot of people don't really know about the material, they don't know about our products, they don't know about the possibilities, and not just to improve our sales, obviously that would be a good kind of outcome, but just to give people an idea. I mean, glass it's a medium like stone or metal or wood or bone or any of these things, paper, that you can do something with, and actually it's kind of lonely being the only people doing what we do. There are a few little sort of up and coming people who work with glass in various ways, but none quite as comprehensively as we do. And so my sort of usual aim is to educate all the time, and to penetrate all the time, and to improve all the time. So that's kind of my overall plan.